In the season 6 episode, The Card, Patrick says something that most people let slide right past them. He looks at SpongeBob and says, "My landlord changed the lock again." That one line, 4 seconds, no fanfare. And then the episode moves on. But sit with that for a second. A landlord. Patrick has a landlord, which means Patrick owes someone rent, which means somewhere in Bikini Bottom there is a real financial arrangement that Patrick is expected to honor on a regular schedule with money. Actual money, the kind you earn. The kind Patrick has never, in any episode, been shown earning in any reliable way. So how is that rent getting paid? And if it is not, how has Patrick not been thrown out? And more broadly, how does a starfish with no job, no savings, no skills, and no apparent plan manage to eat, live, and exist with the same comfort every single episode? That question sounds like a throwaway, something you shrug at and write off as cartoon logic, but the show has actually been answering it this whole time. The answer just is not the one you would expect. Let us start with what we know for certain. Patrick does not have a job. This is not fan speculation. The show has told us directly across multiple seasons. In the season 2 episode Big Pink Loser, Patrick is devastated to discover that SpongeBob has an entire closet full of trophies and he has none. Not one, for anything. And the reason he has none is that he has never done anything, including holding down employment. When he tries to get a job at the Krusty Krab to win an award, he spends the whole episode directly copying SpongeBob's movements, mirror image, gesture for gesture, unable to produce a single independent action. He eventually wins a trophy for doing absolutely nothing longer than anyone else. That is the show telling you who Patrick is. But the clearest evidence is season 5, the episode Pat No Pay. Patrick has not eaten in what feels like forever, and he shows up at the Krusty Krab in withdrawal. He orders 50 Krabby Patties with extra cheese. He eats all of them. Mr. Krabs brings him the bill, and Patrick reaches into his pockets, checks everywhere, searches himself thoroughly, and comes up completely empty. He has not a single cent. And here's the detail that matters. He was not surprised. He tells Mr. Krabs his idea of paying is having a stomachache from eating too much. That is not a person who forgot his wallet. That is a person for whom money was never part of the calculation at all. Patrick showed up, ordered 50 items, and genuinely had no plan for how any of it would be paid for, because he has never needed a plan. Someone else always absorbs the cost. Mr. Krabs makes him work it off, and Patrick destroys the restaurant. He eats the soap, he floods the freezer, he causes the trash compactor to explode. He does more damage than the bill was worth, and he walks out the other side none the poorer. This is the pattern. Patrick creates a deficit. The world around him pays it. He continues. So what about The Rock? If we are talking about how Patrick survives, The Rock is where he lives, so The Rock should be the foundation of the answer. No rent means no overhead, and Patrick's overhead is already close to zero. No utilities visible in his house, furniture made of sand, food apparently sourced from wherever SpongeBob is eating. If The Rock is free, everything else gets easier, but here's the part that almost nobody caught. Patrick's rock is not his. In the season 12 episode Shell Games, it is revealed that what Patrick has been calling his house for the entire run of the show is actually the shell of a sea turtle named Tony, who has been asleep under the sand for over 30 years. Tony wakes up, realizes his shell is covered in dirt and hosting a small pink starfish, and wants it back. The thing Patrick has treated as his home, his anchor, his one fixed point in the world, was a debt he did not know he had. He did not earn it, he did not build it, he did not own it, he was just there when Tony was asleep and he stayed. And yet, back in The Card, he has a landlord, which means at some point someone is apparently charging him for the rock he does not own. And Patrick is not in prison, which means either the rent is being paid or nobody can figure out how to evict a starfish. Now let us talk about what Patrick does when he actually needs resources, because this is where the picture gets interesting. In season 5, Sing a Song of Patrick, Patrick sees an ad in a comic book store for a mail-in contest that will record and play your song on the radio. He wants to enter, and instead of figuring out how to get the entry fee himself, he just takes SpongeBob's money. He does not ask. He takes the comic book money SpongeBob was about to spend and puts it toward his own goal. SpongeBob goes along with it, and Patrick submits a song so bad it kills the band that records it and destroys SpongeBob's house when it airs. Patrick walks away having spent someone else's money and caused hundreds of dollars in damage, and he is fine. He is always fine. In season 3, Rockabye Bivalve, Patrick and SpongeBob find a baby scallop and decide to raise it together. SpongeBob is the mom. Patrick is the dad. Roles are assigned. SpongeBob stays home to care for Junior while Patrick goes to work. Patrick goes to work every day. He leaves in the morning, comes back at midnight, and here is what the job actually is. He goes back to his rock and watches television. When SpongeBob finally confronts him about it, Patrick tells him it was very hard work, because sometimes his butt itches or he has to move the antenna. He has been performing the concept of a job while doing nothing. He understands that someone in the arrangement has to earn something, and he has decided that person is not him. The one time Patrick stumbles onto actual money is season 6, Porous Pockets. He and SpongeBob find a pearl stuck in a clam's throat and trade it in. It is worth a fortune. Patrick briefly has real money, and then SpongeBob takes all the credit, gets all the wealth, blows it on fake friends, and loses everything. Patrick ends up exactly where he started, with nothing, watching from the outside. The universe handed Patrick a lottery ticket and immediately took it back. That is how precise his relationship with money is. It cannot stick to him. It was never meant to. So what is the actual answer? How does Patrick survive? Here's what the show has been quietly showing us. Patrick does not survive on money. He survives on proximity. He has positioned himself at the center of a social ecosystem where everyone around him, SpongeBob especially, quietly absorbs every cost he generates. SpongeBob feeds him, covers for him, provides entertainment, supplies transportation, and shows up without being asked. The Krusty Krab employs him when convenient and forgives catastrophes. His house turned out to be borrowed from a turtle who was asleep. Every resource Patrick uses belongs to someone else. He has never once been the one standing behind the counter. And here's the part that should make you stop. Patrick is not suffering. He is not worried. He is not scrambling. He is, by every visible measure, one of the most comfortable characters in Bikini Bottom. While Squidward works a job he hates to afford a house, nobody visits, while Mr. Krabs pinches every cent and still sleeps on the floor of his restaurant. While SpongeBob works double shifts at the Krusty Krab and still finds time to keep his pineapple spotless, Patrick does nothing, has nothing, and wants for nothing. You could call that stupidity. You could call it obliviousness. You could say Patrick just does not understand how the world works, and everyone around him is too kind to correct him. But there is another way to read it. Patrick has discovered something that every economist, every financial advisor, every self-help book in the world is trying to tell people and failing. He has eliminated every cost he can push onto someone else and kept only the ones that come with no bill attached. His lifestyle requires nothing. His needs are met by his relationships. His housing was inherited. His food is funded. He has built, deliberately or not, the lowest overhead life in Bikini Bottom. And it works. The question was, how does Patrick survive with no money? The answer is, he does not need any. Because in Bikini Bottom, if you plant yourself next to someone who loves you unconditionally and never once asks them to stop, you never have to. But here's what that actually means for SpongeBob, and what it means for every character who has ever let Patrick walk away from the bill. Because the survival system Patrick runs does not work without someone on the other end of it. Someone who shows up, someone who pays, and if you have been watching this show your whole life and you thought SpongeBob was the lucky one in that friendship, we need to have a very different conversation next time.